Everyone talks about supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, millions of views, millions of euros. But almost no one talks about the cars people actually live with. Because the truth is, most of those dream cars spend their lives parked. Meanwhile, somewhere else, there's a 20-year-old car starting every morning, no matter what. The Volkswagen Golf was never meant to be special. It wasn't built to impress anyone. No one bought it to show it off. They bought it because it worked. Every single morning, no matter the weather, no matter the mileage, it just started. It took people to work, to school, to places that actually mattered. It carried families, groceries, problems, and memories. It wasn't fast, it wasn't exciting, but it was always there. And that's what made it different. Because over time, it stopped being just a car. It became something people relied on, something people trusted, something that, without noticing, became part of their lives. The Clio was never meant to stand out. No one bought it to impress anyone. They bought it because it was there. Every morning, every routine, every normal day. For many people, this was their first real freedom, their first car, their first independence. It wasn't powerful, it wasn't exciting, but it didn't need to be, because it was enough. And that's what made it important. And yeah, there was a version, the Clio Williams, faster, louder, special. But most people didn't have that one. They had this. And somehow, this is the one they remember. The Ibiza and the Astra were never unusual. That was exactly the point. They were everywhere, in every town, every neighborhood, every car park, every family street. They were the cars people used without thinking, to go to work, to pick someone up, to carry shopping, to get through winter, to survive another year. They were not exciting in the way magazines wanted cars to be exciting. No drama, no theater, no big statements. Just engines that kept going, bodies that aged, interiors that wore out, and still they stayed useful long after flashier cars had disappeared. And then there was this. The cars nobody talks about. The ones that never had posters, never had fans, never had a second look. Like this. The C15. Slow, rough, uncomfortable, but everywhere. On farms, on dirt roads, in small towns, working every single day. It didn't matter how it looked, it didn't matter how it felt, it just worked. Through rain, through heat, through years. And while other cars disappeared, this one stayed. Because in the real world, this is what a car is supposed to do. Everyone talks about supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, big power, big noise, big prices. They get the posters, the headlines, the attention. But most people never lived with cars like that. Most people lived with something else. Cars that started early in the morning. Cars that sat outside in the cold. Cars that carried people to work, to school, to family, to real life. They were never glamorous, they were never rare, and nobody called them special. But somehow, they stayed. And in the end, those were the cars that mattered most.